So, the first topic that we're going to be talking about is how you respond when you realize that you're wrong. So, can you give an example of anything that you have been wrong about?
Well, I've been wrong in assuming, I had a history of assuming that people who were kind of egotistical or boastful acted superior to me. I guess I had a history of thinking that those people had a huge, just enormous amount of self-confidence, and I honestly believed that they thought they were better than me, and it mostly, would end up making me feel bad about myself. I would take it to heart and feel like they were actually were superior to me. So I guess I would say that that's definitely something that I have changed my mind about, because I realized that most of those people that I have come in contact with that I believed that about were actually quite the opposite. Had difficulty with self-esteem and used, I guess, their superior attitude and their boastfulness to cover that up outwardly.
Okay, so why do you think that you came to that conclusion in the first place? Or what do you think caused you to initially believe that about them?
Probably a little bit, two things. One thing is just the way they came across to me, kind of rubbing me the wrong way in some sense, but also in some ways because maybe I wanted to believe that about them. Do you think they thought they were better than me? In a way, being jealous or envious of their accomplishments.
Okay, so you would say that it was kind of like almost a conclusion that you jumped to, or you assumed about them?
Yes, and so I immediately wanted to paint them in a negative light.
Okay. So, I don't know if you can really, there's not really a black and white answer to this, but how did you learn that you were wrong?
Mostly, I guess, in my experience with the people that I felt this about, just getting to know them better would probably be the biggest thing that taught me that, well, they don't really think this way.
Can you explain a little bit about what it felt like to be wrong? Was it hard? Like, was it hard to accept, or did it take a really long time to accept that you were wrong about it?
Yes, it did, because I think once you have a conception about somebody, especially a negative one, and people are rubbing you the wrong way, you have a hard time believing that you were wrong about them. And I probably felt a lot of guilt about the whole situation, because, of course, I would say things. I would talk to other people about how I felt about them, and they how I felt about them, and we would say negative things about them. So once I realized, this person is really insecure, of course, I felt a lot of guilt. I felt pretty bad about it.
So you don't have to say it, but if you have a specific person in mind that you experience this with, you're able to see them now in a different way, you would say?
I am, yes. Okay. Yes. When they do this, I have this kind of behavior, I tell myself, it's just them trying to make themselves appear better than they are. So, in some ways, I feel bad for them. I have some I don't know,
Empathy.
what is it? Empathy.
Empathy. That's
Yeah.
yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay. So the next part of this is, what is a social issue that you feel is most difficult for others to adjust to or change their minds? So, do you have any examples of a specific social issue that people are really like stuck in their ways about?
Well, I think religion would be a good one. In general, religion.
Okay. Do you have any ideas about why this specific social issue causes so much difficulty in changing our viewpoints?
I think because it's a very emotional issue, it's a very deeply rooted issue. It can be, you don't even realize it, but most of us have been raised from babies, you know, believing because of our family or something. It's very, like I said, a very emotional issue for most of us and ingrained in us from the time we were little.
Okay, so we hold unconscious biases, which are just like stereotypes and prejudices about people or ideas or just anything that we don't realize we're holding. So they're just kind of like internally our internal beliefs. So knowing that, what role do you think that plays in our ability to adjust or change our perspectives?
Well, different religions definitely have, I would imagine we all have unconscious stereotypes about their beliefs, and we're not comfortable with their belief systems. We may have, I guess, an example. If I can give an example of that, which it's not valid, but when we think about a lot of people, when they think about Muslim religion, you know, they're automatically, unconsciously though, but I think they think of this very extreme religion, and it's not really that way at all. It's a very peaceful religion, but society has taught us so much about one side of them. We don't get to hear about the other side, the peaceful side of it. So, and I don't think we really realize we're doing that.
Yeah, and I think another example of that would probably be when thinking about Jehovah's Witnesses. That's definitely something that people tend to put a negative light on, and I know that you can definitely agree with that.
Oh, definitely. They really, they aren't anything like, what people think they are. There's kind of,
Oh, give me 1 second. Hang on. Okay, so do you think that the reason people have that like perspective about Jehovah's Witnesses is because they just don't understand? Like they're lacking the knowledge about the religion itself?
Yes, I do. I think that all they see is that they go door to door and they approach people to speak with them out in public, and people aren't comfortable with that because of the whole social idea of religion. It's such a personal thing, and they're not comfortable with people approaching them about it.
Okay. So tribalism is another concept that has to do with the tendency for us to create groups and judge people off of what we see as their differences instead of their similarities. So, knowing that, what role do you think tribalism plays in our ability to adjust or change our perspectives?
Well, I think that's pretty normal with a lot of things. When you are associated with a certain group of people, a lot of times you take on their belief systems to some extent. And when you think about going outside of that group, it's not a comfortable thing. And religion is definitely, a lot of people who belong to certain religions, it can be a very close group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And just the idea of not being in that group, I think it's comforting to have that, especially when you're talking about religion and going outside of that group, or even thinking kind of outside the box of that group is not a comfortable thing for people.
So do you think it's possible for people who belong to one religion to be open to a different religion, or to see a different kind of perspective about religion?
I think it's very possible for certain people
Mm-hmm.
to do that. You have to, I would think, be a little bit open-minded,
Mm-hmm.
because religion, I think, especially organized religion, tends to shut our minds and close them off to what we believe. But there's a lot of people who are open-minded about it and accepting of other people's beliefs.
Okay. That pretty much wraps it up. Is there anything else that you feel is important to say about either of these two questions or topics?
Just that it's a very interesting topic, because most people really do try to always be right. Nobody wants to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a very sensitive thing when people find out, oh, you're not right about something, or you made a big mistake, especially when there's other people involved in it.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, I think that's about it. Thank you for participating in this.
Oh, you're welcome.